Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss a very important act, that is Employees Provident Fund and Miscellaneous Provision Act 1952. This is an act which provides various benefits to the employees who are employed in various organizations. And this act has came into being in 1952 for providing social security and financial security to the employees. This is one of the platform of savings for all employees working in government, public or private sector organization. And this came into the promulgation of the Employees Provident Fund Ordinance on 15th November 1951. It is now referred as Employees Provident Fund and Miscellaneous Provision Act 1952, as earlier it was used to be called as Employees Provident Fund Act 1952. So we are going to discuss the lot of benefits and the conditions which are there, that how an employee can receive the employee benefits of EPFO, and what sort of contributions are to be done from the employee side and employer side to avail the benefits, and what are the different interest rates that employee avail once he starts contributing under the EPF Act. So let's start with the introduction. So we all know that salary consists of two parts, earnings and deduction. That means whenever we talk about your CTC and segregation in the salary part, you have some earnings and you have some deductions. So EPFO, Employee Provident Fund, is one of the parameter or component comes under the deduction part. Provident Fund is one of the statutory deduction done by the employer at the time of salary payment. So when your salary is going to be paid, the deduction on Employee Provident Fund is done by the employer. From your salary, it is done, the deduction is done, and then your payment is done for that salary for that particular month. Provident Fund is governed by Employees Provident Fund Act 1952. This act came into being in 1952. So we call this act as a Employees Provident Fund Act. There are three schemes come under this, and this is very important for all of you to know. We just know the term Employee Provident Fund, which is very popular. But not only Employee Provident Fund is there into this act, three schemes are provided to the employees under this act, and those are: first is Employee Provident Fund scheme, second is Employees Deposit Linked Insurance Scheme, third is Employees Pension Scheme. So all these three schemes have different speciality. They provide different benefits to the employee in different terms, and the deduction from the salary happens in different forms as well. So when your salary is being deducted for contributing in the Employee Provident Fund, this fund is not being just formulated for the employee provident, but that also consists the amount from the insurance scheme and the pension scheme. So initially it was only Employee Provident Fund in 1952. Later on in 1976, this Employee Deposit Linked Insurance was also included, and in 1995, Employees Pension Scheme was also included in the Employee Provident Fund Act. So this is how it went ahead. One of the main platform of saving in India, Employee Provident Fund, for nearly all people working in government, public or private sector organizations. So this is a common platform and common practice that is followed by different organizations, whether those are from the government, public or private sector. So those of you who are going to work in the banks or who are working in the banks, this PF part must be there in your CTC and your salary breakup. You can just go through that and you will see that how it is going on. It is implemented by Employee Provident Fund Organization, that is EPFO, and the website for the same is epfindia.gov.in. So I will take you to this website as well if my screen sharing permits. I'll do so. Give me a second. So I hope this is visible to all of you. So this is a website of Employees Provident Fund Organization India, and all the important information, the objective of the website and the mission and vision, and whenever any amendment is done from the government side, that is mentioned in this website. So this is a authentic way that we should approach to understand the new schemes or any amendments regarding the base wage on which the PF is calculated, because every time the base wage is changed. Earlier it was 6,500, now it's 15,000. That we'll be discussing in the coming slide. So all the information is available here in this website itself, and all employers and employee refer this website only. So this is the website of Ministry of Labour and Employment, Government of India. So let's come back to the PPT. Yeah. So I hope this is understood to all of you that PF is not just provident fund, but it consists of insurance and your pension scheme as well. Next, we come to the objectives. Why this employee provident fund scheme exists, and why this kind of social security to be provided to the employee. There are a lot of different types of social security. I have already discussed Gratuity Act, Maternity Act, Bonus Act. What does these act provide to the people of India? Basically, when you are employee in some organization, it's not just that you have to earn money, you have to get your salary on time and your things are done. No, your social security, that means if something happens to you, if in case you got injured or you are not able to now earn money, for those contingency you are socially secured by certain scheme that you yourself, if are unable to manage yourself and organize yourself, some well organized and structured scheme is provided to the employee, so that they can go ahead and their future can also be saved, and not only employees' future but their family future can also be saved. So that's why we call it social security. Along with social security, this scheme is for your financial security as well. So there is a dual benefit that you get from EPFO. So the Employee Provident Fund and Miscellaneous Provision Act. So this is not just called Employee Provident Fund. Later on, some more terms have been added into this act. Is Miscellaneous Provision Act 1952 is enacted to provide kind of social security. The act mainly provides retirement or old age benefit. So it also provides, when we talk about the pension benefit, that means it gives you some retirement or old age benefit, such as provident fund, superannuation, pension, family pension, and deposit-linked insurance. The Act provides for payment of terminal benefits in various contingencies, such as retrenchment. What do I mean if I talk about terminal benefits? That means that it's not that at the end of your job you will receive the benefit from the PF. No, you can withdraw money from your PF account time to time, but those reason of withdrawing the money are mentioned in the PF Act, that because of these reason only you are eligible to withdraw the money from the PF account. So I hope you need to be clear that it's not every time you can, if you have some financial problem, you can go and take out the money. The reasons should be same that have been mentioned in the provident fund, and I'll be discussing those as well. For example, some reasons are certain contingency you are facing, like retrenchment, certainly because of some problem or some market low down. If company declares that you are being retrenched, employees from certain companies are being retrenched, and you are one of those employees, that means you don't have any job in your hand, but you have to take care of your family, education of your children, medical of your parents. So in that case, due to some financial crunch, you can take out money from the provident fund because of closure. In case the company where you were working, that has been closed, so in that closure case also, you don't have now any option, you don't have job, then also you can take out some money from that provident fund. Retirement on reaching the age of superannuation. Now you are retired, so there's a pension benefit which is associated with EPFO. So now you are retired and you have reached at the age of superannuation, voluntary retirement, and retirement due to incapacity of work. So these are the certain reasons that you can give to take out the provident fund, and proper validation of these reasons are done by the inspectors which are appointed by government or EPFO. They take care of that your reason is genuine, then only you are withdrawing money from the EPFO. Applicability. So where this act is applicable? First of all, this is applicable to all over India except Jammu and Kashmir. So in the state of Jammu and Kashmir, this EPFO is not obligatory and not mandatory on the organization, and they can do away with this. Second, every industry employing 10 or more persons, 180 industries are specified in Schedule 1 of the Act. So Schedule 1 is mentioned in the EPFO website, and 180 industries names are mentioned, that if those industry have employed 10 or more person, then it's mandatory for those industry to provide PF to their employees. So those list of the industries are also mentioned there. Second, in case out of those 180 industries, the name of which are mentioned, every establishment, like if it is a factory or any other industry, which has 20 or more persons are employed, they have to register themselves for the EPF account. So you see the difference between both the points. Here, all those 180 industries have to take the EPF account and register their organization for EPF if they have 10 or more. And apart from those 180 industry, if you have some factory or industry and you have 10 or 20 or more person employed, then it's obligatory on you. Apart from these, any other establishment employing 20 or more person, which the central government may notify from time to time. So if in case, apart from those factory or industry, which has 20 or more person, to which central government think that you should have some PF account in your organization, then also those establishment has obligation that we have to take the PF account. Like education industry, I've not seen education industry like they have very high obligation that you have to have some PF account, but it is called as a good practice, good HR practice. So why do you need some good HR practice? Because you want to attract good employee in your organization. So that's why it's not always that you have to adhere to the government's obligations or act, and then only you are adopting some practices, but also just to increase your employer branding, that you have some good HR practices and employees would be attracted towards it and they'll apply to your organization. So I think all organizations want good employees and capable employees who are looking for the good HR practices as well. So I think by this slide applicability, this is clear to all of you wherever this EPF Act is applicable. Now it's your duty to notify and register your organization under EPF Act. So every corporation registered under the Companies Act 1965. So very important, those organizations which are registered under the Companies Act 1965 must notify the EPF board of its incorporation within 30 days. So the moment you are registered under Companies Act 1965, you have to go to the EPF board and you have to tell that yes, my company is registered in Companies Act 1965, and this should happen within 30 days only from such incorporation using the appropriate performer. That appropriate performer is provided by the EPF organization only. Now contribution, very important part. A contribution, what do we call contribution in EPF? So a contribution is the amount of money paid to the EPF, Employee Provident Fund. That means there is an organization that take contribution from the employer and employee. So employer, what does employer does? He calculate based on the monthly wage of an employee, whatever the monthly wage of the employee is there, and base wage on which EPF is calculated, employer calculate that amount and then he credit in the employee EPF account. Why am I saying employee EPF account? Every organization which are registered under EPF, Employee Provident Fund, what do they do? The moment you enter the organization and do all the HR formalities, you are registered in Provident Fund account, and that's called your EPF, Employee Provident Fund. So you are given an account number. You are given an account number, and that account number is from the Employer from the Employee Provident Fund organization. That account number is given by the Employee Provident Fund organization, and it's not from the employer, right? It's ये organization का account number नहीं होता है, ये Employee Provident Fund का account number होता है. So if in case you are leaving that organization, your account number doesn't change. Your PF account number doesn't change. You continue with that account number to the other organization as well. So your whatever the fund you have accumulated in your account, that would remain there itself. It's just your organization has changed. You will give your account number to the new organization, and new organization will continue contributing into your account number. So this is how your EPF account number works. I hope this is clear to all of you till now. So next, what we are going to discuss is who is liable for contribution. So I hope all of you know that employer and employee both are liable to do the contribution in the PF fund. Since section 43(1) provide that every employer and every employee within the meaning of this act are liable to pay monthly contribution. That means every month your salary gets deducted with PF, and then your final salary comes to your bank account, and the deducted amount for PF goes to the PF fund. The employer shall in the first instance be liable to pay both the contributions payable by himself and also on behalf of the employee. So sometimes what happens that due to some contingency or due to some incapability of employee is unable to pay the amount for the employee side to the provident fund. But in that case, whatsoever is the reason, whatsoever is the case, that contribution from the employee side should not go blank. So if in case any problem, any issue happens, we'll be taking some cases what all can happen in different conditions. So anything happen, whatsoever is the reason, employer can contribute from his end for employee, and then he can complete the contribution for that particular month. But yes, later on employer can take amount back from the employee, charge him for the same amount which he has contributed on behalf of employee, and then he can continue with the same. But in no month the employee side or employer side contribution should go blank to the EPFO. Membership of the fund 26. So this comes under this section 26. So classes of employees entitled and required to join the fund. Here we'll be discussing that what sort of employees who are entitled and they are required to join the PF fund. Every employee employed in or in connection with the work of a factory or other establishment to which this scheme applies other than an excluded employee shall be entitled and required to become a member of the fund. Simple this is, there's no complication here, that if you are employed in an organization which comes under the purview of PF Act, that means that our organization is registered under PF Act, that means simply you are eligible to get your salary deducted for the PF account. This is as simple as possible unless you are an excluded employee. That is certain conditions that are there for the excluded employee. That means you have already not withdrawn all the money from the. I'll be discussing about the excluded employee also, but just for an instance that you should have not completed your superannuation and you should have not taken all the money out from the PF fund. So there are certain conditions that are called for the excluded employee. So you should expect that if the organization is registered in PF Act, my PF should also be deducted from my salary, and then accordingly I am the PF member and I should get the PF account. That's the most important part, that you should receive the PF account number. That is your personalized account number, and you are going to utilize it for whole career of yours. Withdrawal of contribution. Now we'll be discussing that what are the different areas, what are the different conditions wherein withdrawal of contribution is allowed. So EPF boards may authorize to withdraw of sum of money standing to the credit of a member if it is satisfied. So in what situation you can withdraw your money, or if in what situation it is said that now PF amount cannot be continued the contribution cannot be continued. This is basically not withdrawal of money. This is withdrawal of contribution. That means now onwards, I will not contribute. So in what conditions the employee will not contribute? If the member is died, as simple as that. The member has attained age of 55 years. So the moment you are 55 years of age, you are not eligible to contribute in the PF fund. The member is physically or mentally incapable from engaging in any other further employment. So see, EPF is simply for employee. If in case you don't have any employment, you don't have any job, of course your PF amount would not be deducted from anywhere, and neither you can contribute in the PF account. You cannot say that I have PF account, I will contribute it and deposit the money directly to the PF fund organization. No, it won't happen. So if in case you are not no more engaged in any other employment, or you are physically or mentally incapacitated, that is proved by the employer that he is physically or mentally incapable now, so your PF contribution would end then and there itself. So that's how the withdrawal of contribution happens, and these are the certain conditions based on which the contribution stops. Next, what all different kind of contributions and schemes? So first is employees. So first I had already discussed, we were discussing about the employee provident fund. Second is your employee pension fund scheme. So here it's a central government scheme which provide what sort of pension this scheme provide is widow pension, children pension and retiring pension. That means that if in case the person is died but his account is there, the fund is already accumulated in that account, her widow, the widow of that particular employee will receive the pension. If in case children are there, then and widow is not able to receive the pension, or there is no widow and only children are there whose nomination were there in name of the nominee, the name of the children were there. So children pension and retiring pension is for you itself when you reach to the age of superannuation. The purpose of this scheme is to providing family pension and life assurance benefits to the employees of any establishment to which the Act applies. So this is what we discussed today regarding the introduction of Employee Provident Fund. In next session, I'll be discussing some more about this Employee Provident Fund, some more introductory part itself, some terms about it. And in the next session itself, I'll be continuing with the calculation part. How do we calculate the Employee Provident Fund?